Good morning everyone. My name is Abhay Singh and I welcome you all in today's video analysis of The Hindu. Today is 14th of July 2024 and we'll start with the first important news headline for the day. And before moving into the new important news headline for the day, just look at one important thing that there was an assassination attempt of Mr. Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. So there was an attempt to, shot dead Mr. Donald Trump, who is, running for the presidential uh, post United States of America. He is running for this, elections. He was, giving his speech in a rally, and meanwhile, a shooter tries to shot him, but again, he was saved. He is, no, the bullet pierced his left or right ear, I guess, top of the right ear. So this is one important news that is coming all the way from United States of America. United States of America is going to have elections in the month of November 2024. Last time elections held in 2020 when Joe Biden was elected as the president of United States of America. Now again in 2024 presidential elections are due United States of America, and during one of the rallies in Pennsylvania, Mr. Donald Trump was shot. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Next important news headline for the day. India bloc wins 10 seats in assembly by polls. So it is again a political news, not important for us that India bloc has won 10 seats in assembly by polls. So this is not important. We will skip this particular news item and we will move into the next important news item. Italian forces free 33 Indian farm workers from slavery. Now, Italian police force free 33 Indian farm workers from slavery. Italian police said on Saturday they had freed 33 Indian farm laborers from slave-like working conditions in northern Verona province and seized almost 500 euro, with about 4.5 crore from their alleged abusers. So basically, recently one of the Indian labor who was, uh, thrown on the road and he was dead. Later he was dead, and after the death of that particular Indian worker, there was a protest in entire Italy, and Italy and the government of Italy has assured that all the person who are involved in the slavery, they will be prosecuted, and the persons who are being treated as slave, they will be freed from their abusers. So basically right now Italian government is cracking down all those things, and 33 Indian farm soldiers have been freed from their abusers. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Himachal Pradesh by polls, Congress returns to 40 MLA mark with 2 wins, so BJP not important. It's a political news again. So today there are very few news items which are important, and we will cover those news items in in depth. But yeah, there is nothing important in today's newspaper. So there are few important news headlines, and moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Stage set for opening of Jagannath Temple's Ratna Bhandar today. Now, the stage is set for the highly anticipated opening of Ratna Bhandar, the treasury of Sri Jagannath Temple in Puri, after 46 years. So basically, after 46 years, the gates of the Ratna Bhandar will be opened, and we will meet at 10 a.m. on Sunday to address various issues that may arise during the opening. The managing committee of the temple will hold a meeting separately to plan their course of action. Now, so basically, this particular Ratna Bhandar will be opened after 46 years, and this is a kind of it's a very big event because it last time it took place 46 years back. So this is one news that is coming all the way from Odisha. The Ratna Bhandar will be opened today in the Ratna Bhandar of Sri Jagannath Temple will be opened today. Now, moving on to the next important news item for the day. Next important news item is basically is from Supreme Court again. Supreme Court seeks report on Gram Nyayalas from states and high courts. So this is important for us that Supreme Court has asked the reports from the various states and high courts that what is the current situation of Gram Nyayalas in their respective state. What is the situation of Gram Nyayalas in their respective states? Now, the Supreme Court has sought a full report from the states and high courts on the establishment and functioning of Gram Nyayalas meant to provide affordable and quick justice to rural India and declog local courts. So basically, long ago, Supreme Court has, was seeking to develop Gram Nyayalas so that it can be prevented, so that lower courts can be prevented from getting a lot of case backlogs. So that's why the objective of this particular Gram Nyayalaya scheme was to lessen the burden of the lower courts. But again, it was not working in an efficient manner. That's why Supreme Court has asked various states and high courts that what is the current situation of Gram Nyayalas in their respective state. The top court was informed that Gram Nyayalas were far and few between, even 16 years after they were introduced through a parliamentary law. So basically, Gram Nyayalas, the scheme of Gram Nyayalas were introduced by Parliament 16 years ago. So this particular Gram Nyala scheme is 16-year-old scheme of Parliament. But the effective result is low. That's why Supreme Court has demanded a report. Gram Nyayalas were supposed to provide speedy and easy access to the justice system. So first objective of first objective of Gram Nyayalas is to provide speedy and easy access to the justice system for the last citizen. So this was the main objective of Gram Nyayalas, that to provide speedy and easy access to justice to each and every citizen of our country. That's why this particular scheme was very important. Because in India, the courts have like the burden of there are more than 30 million cases are pending. 30 million cases are pending, and 80% of those cases are in the lower courts. In the lower courts, 80 to 85% cases are in the lower courts. So basically, this whole objective of this particular scheme was to reduce the burden of lower courts and declog them, so that they can work effectively and with a more open-minded approach and with a more free approach. Why? Because courts in India are, lower courts in India are working like a sales team. Like that, you have the target that you have to sell a products of 50,000 every day. And same goes with the lower courts in India, that they are given target, not even target. I mean, there are 30 million cases in the lower courts, I guess. There are 2.6 to 3 million cases in lower courts. And how do you think that these cases are resolved? Sometimes this justice system is not so effective. Why? Because the judge is already so overburdened with the case backlogs, that he is not able to give proper attention to the topics, to the cases which need, a thorough study. So these are the drawbacks, that what happened when there is less time. आपको बहुत कम टाइम में बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें अगर करनी होती है, तो आप बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें बहुत अच्छे से नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो यही सिमिलर लॉजिक हमें यूज़ करना है लोअर कोर्ट्स के साथ में, कि लोअर कोर्ट्स में इतने ज़्यादा केसेस ओवरबर्डन हो गए हैं कि वो लोग बहुत इफेक्टिवली काम ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. अब जब क्या हो रहा है कि वो लोग इफेक्टिव काम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो उनके जो जजमेंट्स आ रहे हैं उसका वो बहुत बड़े नंबर में अपील्स में हाई कोर्ट जा रहे हैं, फिर हाई कोर्ट से सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा रहे हैं. सो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ हायरार्की. सो हमें सबसे ग्रासरूट लेवल पे जाकर के इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करना था. इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट ने 16 ईयर्स पहले ये पर्टिकुलर लॉ इंट्रोड्यूस किया था पार्लियामेंट में, ग्राम न्यायालय से रिलेटेड. और आज तक इस स्कीम को हम बहुत इफेक्टिवली इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं कर पाए. For the same reason, Supreme Court has demanded a report from various state and high courts. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. So again, this is a political news. Congress, KC Venugopal receives spyware attack alert. So this is a political news. BJP loses in its smartwatch strongholds. To again, political news. Congress and J&K parties oppose expanding administrative role of LG. So we have covered this news item yesterday, that Parliament has expanded the administrative power of Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. But opposition has strongly shown, opposition has shown a strong discontent for this particular policy, that they are not expecting central government to expand the administrative role of Lieutenant Governor. They have made certain changes in the laws to give more power to to give more powers to the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. But this particular stand was, opposed by Congress because they were saying that this will largely affect the people of Jammu and Kashmir. This will largely affect the democratic values of Jammu and Kashmir. So these are the things which we have to understand. Now, moving on to the next important, no, one thing, please keep this thing in mind that Article 370 was abrogated on August 5, 2019. Just independence, we celebrate Independence Day on 15th August every year. So the um, 370 was abrogated just 10 days before the Indian independence. So basically, Article 370 was abrogated on 5th August 2019. Now, now this is a very important. This news is very important. You have to clearly look into this particular news item very closely. Now, Central Information Commission (CIC). CIC. Central Information Commission can constitute benches, frame regulations set by Supreme Court. Now, Supreme Court has clearly stated that CIC, that is Central Information Commission, can constitute benches and frame their regulations. Now, what is this CIC? CIC means basically Central Information Commission, and it is a statutory body. Central Information Commission is a statutory body which originated from Right to Information Act, from Right to Information Act 2005. Now, the Central Information Commission (CIC) has powers to constitute benches and frame regulations. The Supreme Court said while observing that the autonomy of the CIC is of paramount importance for its effective functioning. So the reasoning that is given by the Supreme Court while giving this particular statement that Central Information Commission can constitute benches and frame regulations. So the logic was that this autonomy is very important for Central Information Commission to work in the most effective possible way. If they don't have the autonomy, how they will function like effectively? A bench of Justice Vikram Nath and Justice Satish Chandra Sharma last Wednesday said that autonomy and independence of administrative bodies are fundamental to their ability to perform their designated functions effectively. The Chief Information Commissioner's power to frame regulations pertaining to the constitution of benches of the commissions are upheld as such power within the ambit of Section 12, Clause 4 of the Right to Information Act, the bench said. While the RTI Act does not explicitly grant CIC the authority to frame regulations, the overarching powers granted under Section 12, Clause 4 of the RTI Act inherently include the ability to manage the Commission's affair effectively. So basically, Supreme Court has stated that under Section 12, Clause 4 of the Right to Information Act, Chief, Central Information Commission can constitute or can frame rules for its effective management. Now, one thing is very important, that personal autonomy is very important, and this personal autonomy is of paramount importance if you are looking at the functioning of Central Information Commission. Central Information Commission being a statutory body originating from Right to Information Act 2005, it becomes very important for Central Information Commission to work effectively. Right. So under Section 12, Clause 4 of the Right to Information Act 2005, it was clearly stated that CIC has the power to manage the Commission's affair effectively. Now, there's Central Information Commission and there is State Information Commission. So the maximum numbers, so there's one Chief Information Commissioner and 10 up to 10 Information Commissioners. So basically, Central Information Commission can have maximum 11 members with one chief information commissioner plus up to 10 members. Now, moving on to the next important news item for the day. Next important news headline for the day. Yogi Adityanath inaugurates Uttar Pradesh Mango Festival. So this is all the way from Uttar Pradesh. That the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh has inaugurated the UP Mango Festival. UP Mango Festival. This is important. Now moving on to the next important news headline. This was a kind of a snippet that we have to cover. Now, Mumbai will be made fintech capital. Maharashtra's economic powerhouse, says Prime Minister. So each and everything will be said effectively because the elections are coming in Maharashtra. So that's Prime Minister has clearly made a statement that Mumbai has the potential to become a fintech capital, global fintech capital, and Maharashtra's economic powerhouse. This is the importance of Mumbai, that that Prime Minister has clearly stated that it has the potential and it has this power to become the global fintech capital. Now, moving on to the next important news headline for the day. India to host a summit for entertainment sector in November. Now, this is important because this is a one of a kind event. This is one of a kind event happening for the first time in India. That's why we are covering this particular news. India will host the first World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit in November alongside the International Film Festival of India in Goa. So basically, the first World Audio, Visual and Entertainment Summit will be held in Goa just after alongside International Film Festival of India. And now the International Film Festival of India will take place in Goa, and this summit will also take place in Goa, and it is in, world's first audio, visual and entertainment summit. Now, moving on to the next important news headline for the day. 6 lakh fake pollution trading certificates unearthed in 3 states. So moving on, now we are coming. Today's the Sunday. Today's Sunday, so there is no editorial in today's newspaper. So there are a few things which are important we will cover, and I have already told that it won't take much of a time to cover today's newspaper. So yeah, this is important. In last 30 to 35 days, there were various terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. So basically, there has been, total 7 to 8 attacks in various parts of Jammu and Kashmir, and total 10 civilians and 8 security personnel have lost their lives till date. The major attack took place on June 9 in Riyasi, and and after the attack on Riyasi, there are total 5 terrorist strikes in Jammu and Kashmir division, in which total 10 civilians and 8 security personnel have lost their lives. So this is a kind of situation. This is kind of law and order situation in Jammu and Kashmir, and it is getting bigger and bigger day by day. And what central government is trying to do here, that central government is trying to increase the powers, or not trying to increase the power of, but Supreme Court has, sorry, central government has increased the power of Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. So basically, these are the things that we have to understand, that the political motivation and the political motive is one thing, and the law and order situation is a different thing. How are you dealing with those kind of situations? This is important. This becomes very important because at the end of the day, 10 civilians have been killed and 8 security personnel have lost their lives. So in total, 18 persons have lost their life. So these are the things which become very important. The attacks follow a pattern which suggests concerned attempts to revive militancy in the Jammu region since the past 3 years in the Chenab Valley, comprising Doda, Kishtwar, Ramban and Kathua. So basically, experts are suggesting that this is a kind of pattern. This kind of pattern, these small attacks, these small terror attacks will, again revive the militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu region, these kind of activities will provoke others as well, and it will revive militancy in Jammu region, especially in 4 areas: Doda, Kishtwar, Rambar, and Kathua. Now we have to understand Since 2021, the Jammu region has witnessed 31 terror incidents in which 47 security forces and 19 civilians have been killed. Other than 48 terrorists have been killed in various encounters. So since 2021, since the beginning of this decade, 2021, the Jammu region had witnessed total 31 terror incidents in which 47 security forces officers and 90 civilians have been killed, and 48 terrorists have also been killed in various encounters. Now this becomes very important that in the last like 4 years, from beginning from 2021 to 2024 till May. So there are total in 41 months there were 31 terror incidents, and in last 35 days there are 5 terror incidents. So this is a kind of approach, this is a kind of attempt to revive the militancy in Jammu region. And at this particular moment, this becomes very important. This becomes the sole responsibility of the central government that how they are dealing with this particular situation. Because they have claimed that after the abrogation of Article 370, things have changed drastically in Jammu and Kashmir, and which we wholeheartedly accept that situation have changed, you know, drastically in Jammu region. But there are certain things that we have to acknowledge, like these small terror incidents, how these incidents will affect the people who are living in those particular regions. They will not feel safe, they will not cooperate. Why? Because they are not getting the basic thing, that is security. That's why these kind of terror incidents becomes very important, because somehow these incidents are showing the internal aggressions, and we cannot ignore these things. So that's why these particular incidents becomes very important. They have a set pattern. As per the expert, these pattern are basically, this particular pattern suggests the revival of militancy again in Jammu region, especially in four areas: Doda, Kishtwar, Ramban, and Kathua. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Yeah. Yes. In late June, the center declared the winning bidders of mining rights in 6 blocks of critical minerals. So total how many blocks? 6 blocks of critical minerals. Now, minerals such as copper, lithium, nickel, cobalt are known as critical minerals, as they, along with some rare earth elements, are essential for the world's ongoing efforts to switch to the greener and cleaner energy. So now, why these minerals becomes very important? Why these critical minerals becomes very important? Because these critical minerals will help us in switching from renewable sources, switching from renewable sources to greener energy, switching from non-renewable sources to renewable sources. Like lithium is huge, used heavily in batteries, in the manufacturing of इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स। बैटरीज, जो बैटरीज यूज की जाती हैं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स में, उसका लिथियम का यूज किया जाता है। सो ये कुछ रेयर अर्थ एलिमेंट है, क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स हैं। क्या कौन कौन से हैं क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स? कॉपर, लिथियम, निकल, कोबाल्ट। अब इन्हें हम CCLN, I call them CCLN: copper, cobalt, lithium, and nickel. Now, why these minerals becomes important? Because they will help us in switching from greener and they will help us in switching to greener energy. That's why this element becomes very important. As per the International Energy Agency, IEA, the lithium demand rose by 30% in 2023, followed by nickel, cobalt, graphite, and rare earth element, which saw an 8% to 15% growth. With the aggregate value of such minerals pegged at $325 billion in its Global Critical Minerals Outlook 2020 report, the agency was flagged that the world's goal to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius in the net zero emission scenario would translate into very rapid growth in demand for these minerals. So basically, we have set a target that by 2050 the world will become net zero, and India have the target of 2070, that by 2070 we will become a net zero country. And these rare earth elements will help us in becoming and achieving those particular and specific targets. Once we have a robust manufacturing system of lithium batteries, the demand will shoot up again. In 2013, there was a rise of 30% in the demand of these rare earth elements or the critical minerals. But with the every passing day, this demand is going to increase, and the total, the total value of this particular critical minerals was staggering $325 billion. So this amount will, this amount will keep on increasing. So we have to understand that not only India, whole world is, whole world is focusing on these rare earth and critical minerals, because every country is moving towards the carbon zero. Now, what is being done to spur production? While India has a natural reserve of some of these minerals, they haven't been explored or tapped fully. For instance, India holds 11% of the world's deposit of limonite. Limonite, the main source of titanium dioxide used in many applications, but still imports $1 billion of titanium dioxide a year. Former Mine Secretary Vivek Bharadwaj once pointed out that then there is the lucky discovery of lithium reserve in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, while the Geological Survey of India is exploring the state's terrain of limestone, which triggered hope of some self-sufficiency in the minerals. The country last February, these reserves were pegged at 5.9 million ton, enthusiasing the government to expedite its tapping. So last year, Geological Survey of India has found that in Jammu and Kashmir there has been a staggering huge reserve of lithium in Jammu and Kashmir. The total quantity was 5.9 million tons. So once the government got to know that in Jammu and Kashmir we have the 5.9 million tons of lithium. Government is government is developing a technology and mechanism to tap those resources as soon as possible. What does tap means here? You know what does tap means here? It's mean to use those materials, to use those minerals. So this is a kind of thing which is very important for us. Why this particular thing become very important? Because we are switching from non-renewable sources to renewable sources. We are switching to greener and cleaner energy, and these minerals will help us in achieving our targets to become a carbon zero country by 2070. Now, moving on to the next important news headline for the day. Next news important news headline for the day. Nipah monoclonal antibody trials may begin in India 2025. So basically, Indian government is trying to test a vaccine for Nipah virus, and the trial will begin in 2025. So we are moving into the business sector of today's newspaper, and there is nothing much important in business sector as well. Now this is all the way coming. This is international page. This is the world page, and we have to look at careful. We have to be very careful. Now, one thing that is important, that Argentina has declared Hamas as a terrorist organization. So this is important, that the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, has declared Hamas as a terrorist organization. Now, moving on to the next important news headline for the day. So Pakistan had took a loan of relief package. International Monetary Fund has released a relief package of $7 billion, and Pakistan has said that it is the last time that Pakistan is taking help from International Monetary Fund (IMF). Now, moving on to the next important news headline for the day. We are moving into the sports section now. So Wimbledon final, today's Wimbledon final, and this Wimbledon final is between Spanish player Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. And the interesting fact was that in 2023 they were facing each other in the finals as well. Now this is coming from the sports section. Now, and what about the female category of this particular event? Wimbledon and the Czech Republic seem to have a special relationship. Four women representing the country have won Grand Slam single titles, and all four have triumphed at with Barbora with Barbora Krejcikova joining. So basically, Barbora Krejcikova from Czech Republic has won the singles of Wimbledon. She's from Czech Republic, and this is, I guess, this is her first slam. This is her first Grand Slam. So this is all the way from, this is coming from the tennis court. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. So this is a sad. This particular article is related to the honor killing. This particular article is related to honor killing. We won't be going into the honor killing. As of now, we won't be going into the honor killing. With this, we have completed the news analysis of 14th of July 2024. Again, today is Sunday. सो संडे को बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें न्यूज़पेपर में नहीं होती हैं, बहुत अलग अलग चीज़ें बहुत अलग अलग तरीके से डील की जाती हैं, एक नॉर्मल न्यूज़पेपर से थोड़ा सा हट के होता है संडे का न्यूज़पेपर। सो आज का न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस यहीं पे ख़त्म होता है। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग टुडेज वीडियो एनालिसिस, एंड इफ यू हैव एनी काइंड ऑफ क्वेरीज देन डू पंच इन योर क्वेश्चंस इन द कमेंट सेक्शन एज वेल, एंड आई रिक्वेस्ट ईच एंड एवरीबडी, प्लीज़ स्टार्ट रीडिंग न्यूज़पेपर, दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। इससे बढ़िया और इससे अच्छा इन्फॉर्मेशन का सोर्स आपके लिए हो ही नहीं सकता है। सक्सेस मंत्रा विशेष यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट। आप लोग प्लीज़ पढ़ना स्टार्ट करिए। मिलते हैं कल के न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में फिर से एक बार। थैंक यू।